This is Mike Bloom, editor of Global Voices online newsletter, and today I'm talking to Kelly Houck, one of our 2012 graduates in Arabic Studies. In this interview, I talked to Kelly about study abroad in Morocco, how she became interested in Arabic language and culture, and her plans after graduation.
I started studying Arabic my senior year of high school because I took an elective course where you got to create your own project for that semester and you present something at the end. And I didn't know what to do. And I was on the bus with my friend Elisa, who's Lebanese, and she was speaking on the phone with her, I think it was her dad, I don't know, but she was speaking in Lebanese Arabic, and I was just thinking, oh, it's so beautiful, I wish I understood what those sounds meant, and I was like, oh, I can do that as my project. So Elisa, bless her heart, taught me how to read and write and the alphabet, and for second semester of senior year.
Oh, so you didn't actually take
No, I didn't
classes.
take Arabic. No, it was just
an
independent project. Yeah.
From a friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's impressive. Okay, so you get to William & Mary.
Yeah, then I get to William & Mary. Arabic 101 is the first class that I registered for in freshman registration. So I've taken Arabic every semester here. I've taken 12 courses.
So you really did start Arabic in
Yeah, formal training in Arabic was definitely here, but my interest began in high school.
Huh. So what is it about Arabic that's appealing?
Well, first, it was just the way it sounds, because it's so different from any other language I've ever studied. I've studied French and German in high school, and I lived in France for high school. That's where I met Elisa. But I just had never heard anything like Arabic before, and so I wanted to figure out what those sounds meant and, where words begin and end, because when you don't know a language, it's just sound, it's just noise.
Right.
So I was very interested in being able to understand it. And I was originally a biology major. I wanted to work with animals, but it turned out to not be my thing. And I switched to Middle Eastern studies because I realized that, every time I looked at the news, I would look at, what is happening in the Middle East, and I wanted to take an Islam class because I don't know anything about Islam. Last semester, I took a Moroccan dialect class, and this semester I took Intro to Arabic Dialects, where we did North African, Levantine, and then a focus on Egyptian and Iraqi dialect, so it was the whole spectrum.
So the basic dialect, I guess, is the Egyptian dialect, is that right?
I think, yeah, that's what we spent the most time on, but we also spent about a month on Iraqi dialects. But Professor Isley knows Egyptian dialect the best,
right.
So that's what we really focused on. And there used to be an Arabic professor here who was Iraqi. Her name was Ola Al-Sauchi.
Right.
Yeah, she was my professor for 3 semesters. She was great, but now she's in D.C. But we Skyped with her in class a few times, so she would just speak to us in pure Iraqi Arabic. It was really cool.
And so the language, I understand, it sounds really sort of interesting and beautiful.
Right.
What about the Arabic culture?
Oh, yeah, I was very interested in that. I was particularly interested in, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but, terrorism and why that, exists and why, and the news, there's a focus on that, and I don't buy that, but I want to know why I don't buy that,
right.
So, because one of my best friends is from Pakistan, and he's from Karachi, and every now and then on the news there's something about, Shias were attacked, and I have to ask him, is everyone okay? And that really, really bothers me that I have to do that, and sometimes he says no.
Right.
So I was really interested in learning why that happens.
So have you had the opportunity to travel?
Yeah, I studied in Morocco for 6 weeks with Professor Sharkawi, and Professor Isley was there too, actually. But I lived in Meknes for 6 weeks, and we traveled every weekend to different cities. It was really cool. I think the coolest part, though, was going to the desert one weekend. We stayed the night in a little Bedouin camp, and I've never seen that many stars in the sky. It was so awesome.
So this was during the summer?
Yes, this was during the summer between my sophomore and junior year, so 2010 was when I went. And I just took Arabic classes all day. Every now and then after school, or after formal classes were done, there'd be a Moroccan dialect class, but I didn't get that much out of it until I came here and took the actual Moroccan dialect class, because I was more focused during school than during the summer. It was very good for helping me understand, I guess particularly Moroccan culture, but some broader aspects of Arab culture, hearing the call to prayer every day, you know, 5 times a day. That was really, really cool because there was a mosque right next to the hotel that we stayed in. Eating the food, getting sick from some of the food, you know, figuring out what to eat, like where to eat. Seeing the difference between, like, there's the Medina, which is the old Arab city, and then the Ville Nouvelle, which is like where French colonials came and like built like a more French style city, and seeing the difference between the people who lived in each part of the city and like what amenities were available. But yeah, it was very cool talking to people in Arabic and them actually understanding me or, you know, teaching me new things.
So do you have any plans for after graduation to?
Not to go there immediately, but everything that I've applied to and I'm interested in is in Washington, D.C., so hopefully I'll get there.
So are these jobs, graduate programs?
Jobs and internships. Yeah.
So what sort of jobs are you
a lot of them
for?
are like research jobs, where I would do research in English and in Arabic from like first-hand sources from the target country, like researching Egypt and what's happening there and how they're transitioning from like Hosni Mubarak's presidency to what's going to happen now, you know, who's going to be in charge, what sorts of rules and laws are going to be put in place, like what's the role of women in this, that sort of thing.
So are these sort of like State Department?
Yeah,
jobs,
some
or
are State Department.
NGOs?
Yeah, there's a lot of NGOs. There's like the Council on Foreign Relations, Freedom House, the Arab American Institute, American Studies Institute, or Arab Studies Institute, sorry.
Right.
Some of them are researching for the government, helping them like develop policies and briefs and that sort of thing. And some of them are about like promoting democracy in that target country and like giving the people there the resources that they need to like develop the government that they want to have, you know, making sure everyone has a voice, that sort of thing. That's what I'm really interested in.
Right.
It's complicated.